Kerrang Radio.
So, I'm beyond happy. I'm delighted to say we're joined once again by M Shadows from Avenged Sevenfold for this Nightmare album special. How are you, fella?
I'm doing great.
Now, do I call you Mr. Shadows, M, Shads? What would you like?
Midnight Shadows.
Midnight Shadows, is all right.
No, Matt is perfect.
Fantastic.
Call me whatever.
Well, congratulations on a great record, which I've now heard in its entirety. I told you yesterday about the bomb scare, that story. So I've heard it, and it's seeped in there. I've got the benefit of one listen, and I can tell the fans that they're not going to be disappointed on this one.
Well, thank you. I hope not.
Well, no, I think you've outdone yourself on this one. This is your chance to profile it for the kids. You can choose a bunch of tracks, to play from it tonight. It's entirely down to you, totally your call. So we'll talk about the tracks as we go along, but would you like to introduce perhaps the first track of the night?
The first track we're going to play tonight is Nightmare. And this track was the opening to the record. It was written a little later in the process because I was listening back to the songs, and I figured we needed a song that would just kick some ass right off the bat. And so we came up with this little ditty, and it was originally supposed to be lyrically about a concept that we were writing, and then after the Rev's passing, we, kept these lyrics because he liked them so much, but the rest of the record kind of has to do more with Jimmy and our relationship with him throughout our 18 years together. So this one doesn't have to do with Jimmy, but we made the video to correlate with Jimmy and his passing. So this is Nightmare.
So that was Avenged Sevenfold and Nightmare, the title track off the new record, which I gather we get in the UK on Monday. Is that correct, Matt?
That's right. You get it before everyone else.
Why is that? Why do we sometimes get these things like a day or two before the States? I've never understood that.
Because the States, we, it's all political pretty much. They try to boost record sales, and their release days are on Tuesday to get a whole weekend in there. And I think the UK just releases on Monday, so you guys get everything a day early. I guess it's kind of cool, though. I mean,
yeah,
you get to hear everything else before the rest of the world.
So it's been a fairly crazy old time since I last spoke to the band, which would have been, I think, midway through last year. Lots has happened. You've had personal tragedy, losing Jimmy, and now you're putting out this record. Has it been a case of taking your time over things? I've heard you, in many ways call this period a time of baby steps since the turn of the year.
Yeah, we're just not trying to make any decisions too fast. We just do what we feel is natural and right. And when you're with somebody for 18 years of your life, and I'm 28 years old. I met the guy when I was 10 years old. It's impossible to to move forward without taking baby steps. And it's just every day becomes a little clearer, and you just don't understand why, and you ask a lot of questions, and you just don't know what to do. You're kind of lost for a while. Luckily, we are all best friends, and we're helping ourselves through this and helping each other through this, and we have a great support system with our friends at home and everyone who knew Jimmy. But it's been tough for everybody. And, to move on is really hard for us, and to see us in pictures with Mike Portnoy, it's hard for us, and to see us without Jimmy, it's hard for us, and to play music without him, it's really, really difficult. So we're just trying to be very cautious of, how we're going to feel about this in a year or two, and try not to make too many decisions right now, and just kind of do it when it comes clearer to us.
It must be quite highly charged and emotional just to hear the tracks once you've done them, I can imagine.
Yeah, they're hard to record. They're hard to write lyrically, and try to, you're trying to convey feelings, and every day you have different feelings, and you have different, it's a different situation every single day when you wake up. Every single day I wake up and I still think about him, and it's just a weird thing. And to go write a record, and then you feel, okay, was that good enough? Did that do him justice? And we know we need to move on, and there's nothing else you can really do. We're just learning, what a lot of people have felt and learned about themselves when they lose somebody. And it's just unfortunate that we lost somebody when he was 28 years old. It's not normal. It's not, it's not something that you're built to deal with. And just luckily, the human nature, it helps us to move on, and that's one thing about humans, is we are able to move on and continue living life and continue to be happy again. So that's what we're getting through right now.
And, the way you can look at this as well is, Jimmy lives on very much. I know it sounds like a cliche, but he lives on through the music, doesn't he? This is almost like an afterlife in many ways, because you have all these amazing memories of him, and it's going to be here in this record.
Absolutely. And And in certain ways, we're all going to die. We all know that, and it's a reality. And Jimmy died young. I'm not trying to glorify anything he did or the reasons behind this or anything, and I'm not trying to justify it. But he died. The last show he ever played was with his favorite band, Metallica, at Sonosphere. And he got to play in front of 100,000 people, and he lived his dreams, and he died young. And he's always going to go down in history as being Jimmy, that crazy young guy that played drums in Avenged Sevenfold and was a great friend, and that's pretty cool. I might be 80 years old someday, in diapers, and who knows, and he kind of went out in his own way, and that was Jimmy, and I couldn't imagine that guy getting old anyways, and we're just lucky to have him for as long as we did, and we're really grateful for that.
Lovely. Are there tracks on the record that have a particular poignancy for you, from Nightmare that perhaps we could play next, or are they all kind of equal in that respect?
Well, there's definitely tracks that are a little deeper and harder to listen to than others. One that we can play right now is Fiction, and Fiction was a song that the Rev wrote in the Pinkly Smooth days when he was playing in that band with Sinister Gates, and it was a song that never really came about. It's very in the same realm as A Little Piece of Heaven. Came from that sort of songwriting idea of just going out there and being crazy and kind of like goblin metal's what they used to call it. And this song is a very sad song, and it's the last song Jimmy ever wrote, and he finished it up the 3 days before he died. And if you listen to the last line, he's basically saying goodbye and kind of foretelling his death in a way, and saying goodbye to everybody. And it's very remarkable. It's very hard to listen to, but he saved these vocals. When we record songs, we never lay down real vocals. It's always like a scratch. And he actually spoke lyrics on this one. He died 3 days later. We went back and listened to it, and it was just very haunting, and we kept his vocal on the actual recording of the record. So next song's Fiction, and check it out.